Okay, Assalamu alaikum class. How are you all? Okay, let's start our today lecture. In that lecture, we have to discuss about some concepts of chapter 2. Okay, in last lecture, we already discussed about beta what is a three-tier architecture. Just wait, I will I will show you some table of content of chapter 2. Okay, let's start from the chapter 2 beta. Okay, in chapter 2 we have already discussed about the three level architecture in details. Either we are this topic is available in the record lecture, and physically we also discuss these topics. What are the three level architecture? Mapping, data independence, data models. In type of data model is basically emergence of data model topic. Okay, so 2.5 till 2.5 topics we already covered in deeply. Okay, now what about the functions of DBMS? In last lecture we already discussed about functions of DBMS: database development process, system development lifecycle, SDLC, phases of SDLC, staged database design approach. What are the stages we have to adopt for designing our database, and design tools? In that we already discussed about the DFTs, data flow diagrams. Next we have topic beta data administrator and database administrator. These are two topics we already covered in last physical class. Now come to the next topic beta, that is data dictionary, logical database design and physical database. Okay, let's start our today lecture with these 2.13 to onward section. But if you have any query in previous topics, you may ask in the physical class beta. Okay, let's start with this topic, that is data dictionary. What is the data dictionary? Data dictionary is a repository of the information that describes the logical structure of database. Means we have some place to store our information, that is called a data dictionary. What type of information? That describes our database logical instructions, how data will be represented or how data will be stored, in which terms or structures data will be stored, this type of information, where it is placed, that location is called a data dictionary. Okay, move towards what about the metadata. Already discussed about the word term metadata. Metadata means we have to process our data with the help of data. For example, we have entity, and entity have further its attributes. When we are dealing with the attributes, means entity is the data and we are further divided, go through the data about the data. That means we are go through their attributes. This is called a metadata. Uses of data dictionary. There are some uses of data dictionaries are available. For example, first one is information about the data. What does it mean? We have to collect or store the information in database to maintain our data. This is called a this is the use of data dictionary. Why we use the data dictionary? Because we have to store or collect the information about data in database. Okay, next we have communication with the users. With the help of data dictionary, we can easily communicate with the multiple users. What is a data dictionary? You must have to be clear. Data dictionary is a repository or place where all information is stored. This is called a data dictionary. Next we have uses. Okay, record of change in database structure. It's another use of data dictionary. Okay, determining the impact of change. Okay, if we data dictionary records each item and its relationships, how we have to maintain that things, if we need to perform any change in the data to be stored for further information updation, so what is the impact of that things, we can easily compute or store or perform with the data dictionary options. Okay, next we have excessive control information. And audit information, we can easily access each record from the database. Audit means we can counting the queries, which one is successfully performed the transactions or not. This is mean the audit information. We can easily audit all the queries. Types of data dictionaries. What is the data dictionary? We already cleared. Next we have what are uses of data dictionary, and further we have moving down towards types of data dictionary. There are two types of data dictionary. First one, integrated data dictionary, and second one is freestanding data dictionary. With their names they can reflecting their meanings. Okay? Integrated means we have DBMS and attached with the database dictionary. With that DBMS we have data dictionary. Okay? What is the DBMS? Database management software. For example, you have MySQL server, and server also have data dictionary or repository for storing the data. We can say that integrated data dictionary. An integrated data dictionary can also be divided into the two further classification, that is the active and passive data dictionary. What does it mean by active? Active means if we are performing any query from the DBMS, it will directly get from the data dictionary and go back and respond to the server. But in passive way, we have data dictionary with the DBMS, but in a whole day, or it can just accessing our data dictionary just once or twice. All activities are performing passively. You can also take example of real time and offline meetings scenario over here. If we have data dictionary, we can if we need any requirement, we can go to the data dictionary and come to back. That means we have active data. If we have any query and we are waiting for the whole day to perform that activity, that means at the end of the day all transaction will be updated or maintained in our data dictionary as a once, not performing sequentially or timely basis. Next we have freestand data dictionary. This is the opposite behavior of integrated data dictionary. In integrated data dictionary, we have a data dictionary that is a part of DBMS is called integrated. Vice versa, we have a data dictionary that is available without DBMS is called a freestanding data dictionary. Next this is all done about the data dictionary topic. Next we have logical database design. This is the 2.14 section, and in that section we have to just cover the topic or bullets about the logical database design. What is a logical database? We already discussed this term in lecture very deeply. Okay, what is a logical database? At that stage, database designer is available to design the structure or schema of original database, or you can say that the blueprint of database at this stage is designing is called a logical database design. Logical database design contains the definition of data to be stored in the database. It also contains the rules, information about the structure and type of the data. Already I have explained what is the logical database design. But a logical database design is a blueprint of your schema of or data structure of your database is called a logical database design. In logical database design, we have steps or stages we have to follow. Like you can see that diagram, it can easily interpret what are the stages of logical database design. First one, we have represent the entities. Next we have represent relationship. Next we have merge the relationship and normalize the relation. What are entities we have used at the logical space? First step, what are their relationships and attributes? This is the second step. And next, merge the relationship. In merged relationship, we can discuss or remove the redundancies. Basically, if any relationship has same meaning, it can merge with the previous one. Normalize the relationship means to reduce the anomalies or redundancy from the data is called a normalized that relationships. Okay, further we have to go to these topics in depth. First one bacha, we have represent entities. Each entity in ER diagram is represented as a relation, and we can also discuss the type of data model. ER model is basically type of our relational model. Okay, so we all are discussing that topics in relational model. Okay, here we have example for to represent the entities. When we are defining the entities of any system, it means we are representing the entities, and each entity name is called a relation in the ER model or relational model. Okay, for example, here we have example of employee, and employee have 1 2 3 4 attributes. First one is employee ID, name, address, and birth date. And what about the employee ID? Why it is underlined? It's a unique code or unique identifier of employee entity. This is also known as primary key, or as of in sometimes we can also call a foreign key for another table. So we can discuss depthly what is primary and foreign keys, constraints, all revising in the next chapter. But here we have to know about what is a unique identifier of an entity. This becomes entity as a relation of a system. Okay, so in the system, when we are designing the logical database, we have to represent entities first. Means number of entities, which number of entities we required for our system. So extract the entities at this steps. This is called a represent entities. Next we have represent relationships. When we identify the entities and their attributes, now between different entities we have a relation to represent their behavior is called a represent relationships. It can depend on our primary key, on foreign key, and other type of associations between the entities. Next we have merge relationship. The first two steps are easy. First one, we have to define the entities with their attributes, and second one, we have to define the relationship between different entities, and third one is little bit different, merge the relationship. What does it mean, the merge relationship? Merge means we have to combine some attribute some entities with their according to the relationship. For example, we have example employee 1 and employee 2. You can easily see there are number of attributes differ in employee 1 and employee 2. When we are following their entity, they are same. This is the part of employee entity, so we can easily merge their relations into one relation to cover all the attributes in one table. What does it mean? Merge the relationship means we have to define single entity with a multiple attributes. For example, if user need a query about employee 1 or employee 2 may differ, but we can apply constraints on the query to exclude or include the data from the table easily. Next we have normalize the relationship. In normalization, what is the mean of normalization? Normalization means we have to remove or minimize the redundancy and anomalies from the data or database is called a normalize the relationship. Next we have physical database design. Previously we discussed about the logical database design. Now next topic is that physical database design. In logical step, we are defining the blueprint, schema, or structure of database. But at physical database, we are dealing with controlling uh, how data will be stored and where data will be stored. Actual data will be stored. That means we have to control the physical logical structure. ठीक है, where the data will be stored and which form of data will be stored. So this is a part of the physical database design. For example, we can say that physical database design is to implement the database as a set of records, files, indexes, and any hashing or data structures which is used to storing our data in actual form or at physical location. Next we have bacha in physical database designing. First one, we have major inputs to database design. For that, if we have to physically database design, first one inputs, next we have components, and third one is okay, just two, I think so. First one inputs and second one is components, which are components required for our physical database design. Inputs, what are type of inputs required? First one, we need logical database structure, user processing requirements, and characteristics of DBMS. These are three inputs that is given to the physical database design process. And I am leaving this topic because we already discussed about the logical database structures, user processing queries, and characteristics of DBMS. You can already go through these topic in depthly previously. Okay. Next we have a components of physical database design. In components of physical database design, this is the major terms we are using. What are the data? Means how much data and how to use or analysis that data, in which format or structure data will be stored. This is done by the data volume and users analysis. Next we have data distribution strategy. In means how we have to send our data, either completely, either in parts, or either saved at single site or multiple sites. These are different queries that are performed by the data distribution strategy. Okay. For example, first one we have centralized. Centralized means we have to store all the database at one site or state. This is called a centralized data base. Next we have partitions. We have to divide our database into the different parts or fragments. Fragment is also known as a parts. Okay, and each part is assigned to a particular site. We are dividing our data into the 10 parts, and that 10 parts are stored at different 10 different location or sites. This is called a partition database. Next we have replicated database. Full copy of data is stored at another site is called a replicated database. You can easily say this term is a backup. We have original database stored at one site, and we need or we have to store the copy of that database at one site, another site, for our backup and recovery processing or anything else for our security purpose. Okay. Next we have hybrid. Hybrid means we have to divide our database into the critical and non-critical fragments or partitions, and critical partitions are stored at multiple sites, non-critical are stored at the single site. This is the basic concept. Means we are saying that centralized and partitions are combined. This is called a hybrid technique. Okay. Next we have a file organization. In file organization, this is also third part of physical logical database design. First one, what type of inputs given to that stage, and which type of components are used at physical database design. And third one is that file organization means how we have to store our data, in which file structure or in format. Okay. Criteria to select the file organization is leave that file organization is a technique to arranging our all the records on our hard disk. Yani means we have to store our actual data base at some storing devices. Methods of file organizations are important. First one beta sequential, second one direct and random, third one index sequential. Sequential we have to store sequentially, okay? And next direct and random we have to store not in the direct form or sequentially. This is the vice versa of sequential files. You can store the data randomly or not follow the particular sequence. This means we are direct or random files, and in that technique you can also get the data randomly from any index. You can easily fetch that, but in sequential we have to go through that index from one, and then we have to access that particular data. Index sequentially according to the index or addressing, like I am saying about that, we have a key to find out the required destination to get or access on direct file or location. What are the indexes? Indexes are the address of any field, entity or attribute. This is called a indexes or location. Okay. Integrity constraints, we already discussed about the integrity constraints. I already say these are the constraints or rules to perform the accuracy and consistency of the data or reliability of the data. We have to deal in that, means our data will be reliable, consistent and accurate. This is called the integrity constraints. In physically we have to store our data like that. To get these advantages is called the integrity constraints of file organization. This is the end of our second chapter. Okay, next class we shall discuss about the chapter 3, that is ER model. Already you are go through the ER model deeply in previous semester course, that is DBMS. Okay, we shall just quickly revise that topic in next coming lecture. So CR and GR, you have one task of group making list. I just need group list. You can include maximum 5 members or minimum 3 in one group. So according to your class you have to maintain a list and just send me bacha group 1, group 2, group 3 and their members in that groups. I can easily see that groups in proper word file. Okay, and then I will allot you topics to perform the different models or organizations to follow up this advanced DBMS course. Thank you for that. See you in next lecture, bacha. Allah Hafiz.